Well, I'll take them all. All your guns.
Cut you a deal. You can take them all off my hands.
No, I'm going to kill you.
Hey, what the David?
The film starts with a family having breakfast, with the wife staring sadly at a picture of a man in the army. We assume this is her son. Suddenly, there is a knock at the door, and it is an unknown man. His name is David, and he mentions that he served with her son in the army. She invites him in as a kind gesture. He is very polite and mentions that he was in the army hospital, and as soon as he could leave, he came to see her. He tells her that he was with her son when he died, and her son's last request was to check in on the family and tell them that he loved them. The woman breaks into tears. I can only imagine how difficult it must be to lose your son. David sees a picture in the house and points at himself. She asks him to stay the night as she is interested in hearing more about her son Caleb. As they laugh at the memories, Caleb's sister walks in. She is on her way to work. When David goes into Caleb's room where he is staying, ominous music starts playing, and the friendly face he had before changes pretty quickly. Just who is this man? Later, we see a nerdy boy in school. This is Caleb's brother Luke. He gets pushed and picked on by the cool kids. At home, Luke and David have a very strange stare-down before talking about Caleb again. David also notices that Luke has been hit. David and Luke seem to be getting along, and he is helping him with homework when the sister comes back home. She doesn't seem to be very sociable, so she goes into her room. Later in the night, the father tells David about his work and that a guy younger than him is getting promoted instead of him. He asks David to stay a couple more days while he is looking for work. Again, we see the dark side of David. The day after, David picks up Luke from school. He asks him to show him who hit him yesterday. He starts to follow them as they drive to a bar. Maybe he's not a bad guy after all. While inside, David orders the girls from the cool group shots, and the guys get a really girly drink. This annoys them, and they go over and throw the drink on David. Wrong move. A fight breaks out, 3 against 1, but David has no problem taking them out. They get back home, and he just says there was a fight at school, and he sorted it out. As a thank you, the sister Anna asks David if he wants to go to a party that night. On the way, he finds out that she has a boyfriend. While inside, he even smokes some pot when offered it. He starts talking to a girl at the party when her ex walks in. The ex is being aggressive, so David quickly knocks him out, and the girl invites him to her room. Soon after, he talks to a guy at the party who asks him if he can help him buy a gun. David also sees how Anna is arguing with her boyfriend. They decide to leave and start to discuss her relationship in the car. He tells her that her boyfriend is a loser and she's better off without him. It seems like she is falling for him and even makes him a mixtape that night. He, on the other hand, stares out the window with the most evil face you could imagine. In the morning, Anna hears him talking on the phone. He says he wants to proceed as discussed and that he needs a new face. Just what is he talking about? After hearing this, she decides to call the army to check if they have this David, and when looking, she sees that his records are classified and to contact KPG. Meanwhile, at KPG, they receive this call, and the boss says to get him a flight to where David is and to bring shooters. Apparently, there's a secret about David and their operation. David later meets up with the guy that's going to help him with buying the gun. He decides to buy all the guns without paying. He shoots the seller, and even though the friend tries running away, you think he is too far away to shoot, but not for our man. He must have some skills. He even finds some grenades there. Anna gets the call from the army and is about to tell her parents, but is interrupted by her father, who tells the family that the boss who was just promoted has been killed and that he got the promotion instead. David walks into the house and Anna gets the call about her friend being shot in the desert. Instead of telling her parents what she knows, she decides to go to the diner where she works and tells her friend what she found out. Apparently, David died a week ago. At home, David is carving a pumpkin with Luke. Again, we see the dark side of him come out. He tells Luke to start carrying a knife to school, and if the bullies take it away from him, to go to their house at night and burn it. Anna gets back home and manages to take David's burner phone. She takes a picture of the numbers he has called, but just then he walks to his room and finds the phone on the bed. Anna gets a call from her boyfriend, who has been arrested. Apparently, they found the gun that killed her friend in his van. It feels like David is trying to help them, but in a very weird way. This pisses Anna off and she goes to the living room and tells everybody about David's secret and that he was pronounced dead. He says he was in special forces, and so the army is covering for him if any civilians call and ask. The family believes his story and even apologizes to him. Later, David goes to Anna's room and sits down on the bed. He apologizes for her friend being killed and her boyfriend being arrested, acting like a good guy. In the morning, Anna and Luke are driving and she tells him to look for any information on the numbers in David's phone. While he is doing so, he gets into a fight, but this time he actually defends himself. David and the mom go to school to see the principal and find out Luke is expelled. David threatens to sue the school and manages to get Luke detention instead of getting kicked out. Seeing all this, Luke starts snitching on Anna and what she is trying to do, even telling David that he knows he is not the real David but wants to help him anyway since they are friends. While David and the mother are hanging clothes, the KPG arrives at the family home. The agent tells her that he is looking for the man in the picture. She says that he just went inside. Just then, David appears and starts shooting. He takes two guys out and jumps into the house. He grabs the rest of his weapons and picks off the army guys one by one. In the kitchen, he finds the mother hiding and tells her the truth, just before he stabs her with a knife. He gets into the car and drives off, shooting the tires of the other cars. The only guy still standing is the boss, who drives after him. David sees the father on the road and drives straight at him, not wanting to leave any witnesses. The boss goes to Anna and picks her up. 2 seconds later, David goes in and shoots her friend, even throwing in 2 grenades to blow it up. The KPG boss tells Anna that David was the subject of a medical experiment and that he escaped. He was the ideal soldier. Apparently, if David feels compromised, he was trained to clean up all loose ends. He can't stop, even if he wanted to. They go to pick up her brother, who's in detention. Just as they get to him, the lights turn off and on, and they know David is there. They try to leave but get into a fight, where David manages to kill the KPG boss. He knocks Anna out and strangles her. Just before he manages to kill her, Luke appears with the knife and stabs David. Just before dying, David tells Luke he did the right thing, even giving a thumbs up. When they are in the ambulance and watching the firefighters, they see one of them is limping. Could this be David? Thanks for watching another Essential Recap. Please like and subscribe, and leave a comment what you'd like to see next.